Hey, what's up, Brandon? This is going to be a short demo video for you for your Electrum Sabercraft's Remnant. This is the first install for me for 2024. And it was really cool to do for you. So you provided the chassis. The chassis came from Albert Flores over at Smuggler's Outpost, a really good friend of mine. It's a very nice chassis. It is a bit unique because of the switch box location on the Saber. You also provided the CFX, the Bluetooth module, which we'll go over, and everything. Basically, I just wired it up for you. Okay. The only thing that was missing from the kit really was a kill switch, which I put into the chassis for you, although CFX does have a deep sleep. I didn't want you to have that gaping hole in the chassis, so we put that in there. And then CFX does not utilize touchpads for your activation and auxiliary switch. So what I had to do is I went through here and I put two brass tactiles on the bottom of this control box. So your front switch here will be your power, your back will be your auxiliary. That was a pretty tight fit to do that, but I got it to work. All right, so when you want to get to your chassis, first thing you want to do is come over here and loosen up this grub screw a little bit. All right, so we're going to head loosen that up. You don't have to take it out, just loosen it and then pull your chassis straight out. One nice thing about this, well, there's a lot of nice things about this, but the pommel is kind of a press fit onto the back. You do have a Smuggler's Outpost 28mm speaker in the back that you provided. You've got your battery here. This is a removable battery. Right in the back of the battery here is your kill switch. So I put that kill switch in there. I did cut down the kill switch just a hair because it was sticking into the socket and I couldn't get the Saber on. So just shave that down just a little bit. Coming over here, you've got your CFX board. So this one is USB up. All right, but you can, if you look, you can pop that SD card out with a pair of tweezers, and I'll show you that here. I'm not going to take it all the way out for the sake of time. But if you look in there, you can see it down in there. If I put my tweezers down in there and I touch that, click it out, now it's out, right? We can go ahead and we can take it all the way out with a pair of tweezers. Or when you want it back in, let me see if I can do this on camera and not look at it. I cannot. So put your SD card in there, click it back in, and now it's in. All right, so everything can be done there with a pair of tweezers. I did glue the board down to the chassis though, because there is a lot going on underneath this board. You had asked for the Bluetooth module that you sent to be installed, so it is in this as well. You've got your stock, I think that's a B4. We went ahead and we used the short pin version. You sent a long and a short pin, but this chassis was made for the short pin. All right. Negative side of your battery will always go over here by your kill switch. Now when you take this battery out, you do have wires in your battery cradle. So you're going to want to be very careful when you put the battery in to make sure that it's seated all the way in, because if it's not going to go into the Saber. If you ever have problems getting it into the Saber, that's probably what's going on. All right, so we're going to come over here and flip our kill switch. And of course, these are for the switches. I didn't use the second one because that would be for the touchpad and the LEDs, and we didn't utilize that in this particular Saber. All right. When you put this in, make sure that this piece is lined up with your control box. I did swap out the screws that Albert provided. These are a bit longer, and they provide that screw sits down into the socket a little bit. You're probably not going to be able to see that, but it rides along this channel that he has modeled here into his chassis. So if you put it in the wrong way, you're only going to get about that far. Until you turn it, you'll feel it click in, and then you can push it the rest of the way. We'll put it in like that. Clip it into place. You can squeeze the battery and the chassis together as you're putting it in. That also helps. All right. And then definitely whatever battery that you use, well, it's going to be a Keep Power protected cell 18650. Take the sticker off of that. Super helpful, almost necessary. All right, but once you get that in there, you can come over here and you can lock your grub screw down for your pommel, which is right here. So that locks everything in place. We can hit power. So your stock LEDs are firing up. Auxiliary back here. Or hold it down for blade lockup. right? And just tap power to turn it off. This is made for a 1-inch diameter blade. My blade is super tight in here, okay, but it does go. So I'm not going to use any kind of blade retention. Let's make sure that lights up. You may want to do some sanding on your blade. I don't want to do that with this one because I need it for other sabers. But while we've got this in with the blade in, let's go to our ForceSync app. Like that. It's not going to show it now because I've already connected to the saber, or it might. Yeah, it is. So it's going to say Sabertooth. That's the one that you want to click on. You'll come to this screen. It's going to give you different board options, but the first one is CFX, so we're just going to tap CFX. Now we've got that. Let me see it. I know my camera job is terrible, but you've got those options. I'm going to go over here to remote control. All right. I'm going to hold the saber just like this with the control box facing the camera. Turn it on. Do some clashes. Some lockup. Hit lockup again to turn it off. And then hit power to turn it off. All right, you can change your blade color from there. You can change your volume. There's a lot of different options you can do. So go ahead and play around with that. So again, to change sound fonts, we'll just hold down auxiliary.
Sound bank selection. 94. Crystal focus. Nebula. Grainy. Pause. Revolt.
We want this one to hold down power. To change blade color, hold down auxiliary and twist the saber.
Spectrum.
And you can enter spectrum, turn the saber to whatever color you want. Let's go green, hit power. Now we've got a green blade. All right. Now this is just the default setup for now. So obviously when you go in here, when you add sound fonts, you can add color profiles, you can add blade profiles, which is basically blade styles, right? And then you can have a bunch of different options there. But for now, you have the default setup. So to get to the chassis again, we're going to come over here and unscrew our grub screw, pull our chassis out. There's no switches on here, but we can turn it on with the ForceSync app again. Let me open it back up. Should have just left it open. And we'll go to the remote control section and we'll turn it on from here. Now it's on, right? And then we can flip it off with our kill switch. And it kills power just like it should. And then when you want to take your battery out, do it from the positive side by your CFX board. It's a tight fit, but it comes out with your finger just like that. All right. That is basically your Electrum Remnant. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll get this out in the mail to you by tomorrow. Thanks, Brandon.